Hello, everybody. Let me grab a lighter. All right. All right. So, once again, welcome to Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. I am Tobias Josephson, and this is where we approach the paranormal differently. Oh, thank you. That being said, I'm going to light some incense to get us into the mood. Good evening. I saw somebody popped on here. How are we? Oh, it's just me. So, I hope everybody's ready for our fifth experiment. Or is this our fourth? Let me double check. Actually, I think it's our fifth. All right. So, all right, guys. So, welcome to Paranormal Witchcraft LLC, 8 o'clock paranormal laboratory experiment, where we are experimenting with investigation itself. Paranormal laboratory experiment title: Are investigators triggering their own evidence? Tonight, we're doing something most paranormal investigators never attempt. It's not a ghost hunt. It's not a provocation session like most people like to do. It's not a demon test. Tonight, we're running a controlled paranormal experiment, hence the name Paranormal Laboratory. Okay. What we're going to be testing today is this guy, the Epoch box. If you guys remember from this morning, it argued with us. So we'll see what it does tonight now that it's had 8 hours to think about its behavior. So tonight we're running a couple controlled experiments. There'll be 3 separate ones. I did not print the right script. That's my own fault. I should have done it earlier when I was thinking about it, but I will make this script work. It's pretty much just a matter of reiterating some common phrases and filling in the blanks, etc. So on this channel, we try to follow one rule, that when we do investigation, we use containment before escalation in our investigations here at Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. Now remember, we're not here to challenge anyone's practices. We're not here to challenge anyone's beliefs per se. And we're not here to call anybody out by name. We understand that this framework may not be for everybody, and that's okay. All right? That's something I'm growing used to, whether I like it or not, over the last 6 years or so. So here's a question for you. If paranormal activity is real, like I left at the top of the comments there, it should appear even when investigators stop provoking it. Now here's something directly to ask you, audience members. Everyone watching is part of this experiment. Myself, Chris, and whoever wanders in here. By the way, whoever keeps thumbs upping these lives, thank you. So type lab in the chat if you're ready to run a real paranormal experiment with me tonight. Not just one, not just two, but the last one will be nothing but silence. So we're going to do 3. Chris says he does. Right on. Yes, it is. So the question, here's an uncomfortable question most paranormal investigators just won't ask. Are investigators discovering paranormal activities with their devices, or are they accidentally creating it? Yeah. So here's the laboratory rules. Lights will go off. Flashlight is... Don't know where the flashlight is. Gonna have to figure that out. So give me a couple seconds to figure out where I put it in my head. People yelling at spirits, can't do that. Constant questions, can't do that. No emotional escalation on my part. I give you my word, because that's not investigation. That is simply stimulus. So if you did tune in to the live this morning, all right, you'll know that we are using the Epoch box. It does tend to confuse some people. But again, I like to use devices for a couple nights in a row. So we'll use it tonight, we'll use it tomorrow night, and then Sunday we'll probably get into the S box, etc. I don't have the S box speaker like Matt does, but either way, we'll pull the S box out, get some scanning going, etc., and we'll see what we come up with. But we'll run a few experiments starting Sunday and probably Monday for the S box. So tonight we're going to run 2 experiments. Experiment 1 is going to be containment over chaos, evidence over egos. Experiment 2 will be the escalation, all right, and the chaos tactics that most people do fall back on. Then we will turn the lights back on, all right. Remember to think about what's happening when the lights are off. I want each and every one of you to watch the device, okay? So let's turn it on. You want to go up so we hear the voice. Let's put it back here where you guys can see it this whole time. And it is now away from me. All right. My cell phone is in the other room, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Now, this isn't like a REM pod. Okay. Just so you guys see that. What else do we have in here? We got somebody in here. Hello, second viewer. Welcome. So, in the last one, we're just going to observe. Let me grab a flashlight. So what people have to understand is I share this office with the cats, and our cats are the boss. So our kitties like to get into everything. Let me make sure this works. Let me make sure it's not going to fade. Now, one of the key things we'll notice is this. See how it's starting to blink lightly? So that means we have just enough battery power for tonight. So with that being said, we've turned the device on. Okay. Let's get some experiments going in the paranormal investigations. So we're going to let the room get quiet. All right. Every few seconds or so, I will say something. You guys will see my face. I'll ask you guys to think about what you're feeling. Pay attention to your body. Do you find yourself tensing up, etc., subconsciously? All right. You get the idea. So let's play around. See what we get here. All right. Play around is a bad word. So I'm not going to say play around, but here is the first experiment. We are going to use chaos over, or we're going to use containment over chaos. Let me turn this. Okay. So let me put this on my face. All right, so you guys can see what I'm doing. You can see the stuff in the background. All right, so here we go. Now, we're going to sit here very nicely, very respectfully. I'm going to ask one question. If there is anything around us right now and you wish to communicate respectfully, all right, we are here and we are going to sit in silence. We're going to give you about 20 seconds or so and see if you want to communicate with us in silence. Notice the environment. Remember, pay attention to how you're feeling right now. Do you find yourself getting uptight? Are you shaking, etc.? Is your body reacting against your will? You see that? Could be because my arm's in the way. So let me get out of the way. Okay. So that being said, most investigators will never allow for the amount of silence we're about to give. Ready? 3, 2, 1. About 30 seconds. I'm watching with you. You want to argue with me again? No?
No.
All right, thank you. All right. So that's probably enough time for that one. Okay. And so I'm going to turn you off. Don't worry. I'm still here. All right. We'll do it the other way here. So call that a poor planning. Now we're going to turn it back on. Now, truth being told, you don't have to do this in the dark, but it would be nice.
No.
Ha 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 ha. All right, let's try this one. All right. So now we have it turned back on. The flashlight failed on me. That's my bad. Okay. So now we're going to do the escalation experiment test. I'm going to be pretty uptight. I'm going to be demanding. I'm going to be impatient. I'm going to be everything that everyone usually uses to antagonize, etc., etc. So now the conditions will change from containment to aggressive or escalation. So we're going to ask direct questions. Since we see you, all right, and you seem to have a problem with me, there we go. Do you want to talk to us this time? Are you in the mood to keep arguing with us? Do you have anything you want to say? Do you have a specific reason why you don't like me? I'm not afraid of you. Don't you have anything to say? If you're here and there's something really here, make that light react or produce phenomena for us.
Yes.
Thank you. Now I know I have your attention. Are you an aggressive individual? Are you somebody I know? Are you somebody that used to live here? Is there a reason why you don't want to answer me? Are you afraid of me? Come on. All right. Okay.
No.
All right. So you see that was not because of my hand. All right. That's where my hand was when it went off. All right. So since you're communicating with us in escalation, are you an angry passed over spirit or energy? Yes or no? Come on. Do you have a problem with me? Have I done something to you? No? Okay. Well, thank you for communicating again.
Yes.
I'm glad you agree. Do you want to talk to me anymore, or are you just going to sit there and twiddle your thumbs? All right. All right. Thank you, my friend. We'll be right back. All right. Now we're going to sit in just silence for 30 seconds. No questions. Complete silence this time. Starting now.
Yes.
Now, I believe it would like me to ask it a question. Hello? Would you like to still communicate? Okay. I'm going to close this down now. We'll see you we'll see you in the morning probably. Is that okay with you? Yes or no? You don't want to answer? Well, it doesn't want to answer. Okay, goodbye. So let's close her down, turn the lights back on. All right. So I'm going to leave these to my left so I don't forget to charge them again for tomorrow. So let's take some comments. You see, we discovering it sometimes both answer, containment, and escalation. Chuck Everett, good evening, my friend. Whoa, what's going on here? Good evening. Intense, baseline hit, baseline hit two, baseline hit. Okay. I'll take that. Okay. Now, here's the moment that sometimes causes debate. Okay. And that's okay. That's what we want here. Thank you for the thumbs up again. So, was that the paranormal? Or do some of you think maybe I perhaps affected the environment? So type in the chat paranormal or investigator effect. Both answers are correct from where I'm standing. Remember, the idea here is to get people to talk, get people to engage, share your different opinions and your ideas. There's really no right or wrong answers. All right, we're not here to be condescending to people. Both, I'll take that answer. And I can tell you guys why. Okay. For some people, that will be all the paranormal they need. For other people, they know that we'll need to see that repeated more before we here at Paranormal Witchcraft would actually call that something. Now, it's nice to get that interaction, but like Chris Stantz and others in this room, I'm pretty sure it's some form of baseline hit. Okay. But it sure is interesting, even still, is it not? Okay. So it's very well that because I'm a little anxious on camera, that I could have affected it because I don't like the idea of turning the lights off because people get bored and then they leave the chat. Okay. And so being honest with you guys lets you know that that very well could be my energy or it very well could be a baseline hit. Either way, it's repeated itself a couple times. All right. So we'll put it in the questionable realm. So here's the investigation problem. If that device reacts more during escalation, then investigator may undoubtedly and inadvertently think they're catching some serious shit because it looks just like a pattern, does it not? Okay. So if the device reacts more than escalation, then the investigator may be contaminating the evidence. Notice we're saying may, okay? Possibly. We're asking, are you? Do you know? If you don't know, that's okay too. All right. This doesn't necessarily mean the paranormal is not real. Okay. I can hear people going, oh, wait. Okay. Stay tuned to the end. Pay attention. Okay. Hear us out. It just means that the investigation methods being most popularly used might be flawed. That is all we're saying. Okay. That's it. This is only one experiment that you guys have witnessed with paranormal laboratory experiments. This is our fifth night. So if you're just tuning in here, subscribe to follow tomorrow with the theory experiment at 8. Again, the following day, 11 a.m., a different theory. 8 o'clock, we'll come back here, run some paranormal investigation experiments to test it together. It's getting people in on the conversation, getting people in on the engagement. That's what makes this topic so interesting. I absolutely am fascinated by the phenomenon. But when you look at everything that you have to look into to make sure it's not evidence, you start realizing that maybe perhaps it's a personal responsibility problem. Some people like the escalation method, etc., etc. One experiment proves nothing. Two experiments, three experiments are starting to prove something, was my point. That's why I did three. We were trying to reproduce a pattern, which did not clearly happen. It was more erratic. Okay. So tomorrow we will continue testing at 8 p.m. All right. So, my friends, how are we? How did you guys like that? And if you have a better trick for the light, I am all for it because I'm not a big fan of turning the lights off. Right. And truth being told, is you can do ghost hunts with soft light on like this and still get evidence. But obviously, everybody wants the lights off because it's a very ostentatious environment. All right. So it gets people on edge, it gets people excited, yada, 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 yada. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Not at all. Paranormal investigation is meant to be fun. It is meant to be engaging. It is meant to do with your friends and drive all over the United States of America, or if you're our friends over in Britain, etc. You can go all over Britain and do that with your friends. That is the real draw to the paranormal investigation field, but there's absolutely positively almost no personal investigator responsibility when it comes to asking these hard questions. Are they using escalation on purpose for a reason? Is it just the way they were taught, etc.? All right. And again, our framework isn't for everybody and it won't fit everybody's opinion. All right. And that's the point. It gets people thinking, it gets people exploring their brains, etc. You can picture yourself on hunts, put yourself there, think back and see if you can catch yourself back in the day, like when I used to make mistakes and everyone else that came up around us. It happens all the time. Paranormal investigation is more like learning each hunt. Doesn't matter if you've been there 20 times. Don't you want to catch something a little bit different every time? Isn't that the point? I would think so. Is you don't want to hunt the same location the same way every time. And again, if the paranormal is really real, theatrics really aren't needed. They're really not needed. It's just theatrics at that point. Okay? It's just chaos. Okay? These things don't need performance to be activated. They don't need all the bells and whistles. We were talking about that earlier. I believe how you pull out every single device you got because I get it. You're excited. You might have a little knock or something going on and you start getting excited. You start firing everything up all over the place, especially if it's 3 or 4 stories and you got part of your team on, floor one, another one in the basement, and you're using walkie talkies. And now you have all your traps lit up at once. I would suspect that if I was passed on, there's got to be a way that they know they're walking into these things. And so it's a conscious choice from the spiritual realm that these entities even look our way, in my opinion. And I think there's so much about it coming from the 3D that we don't know in investigation, guys. Just because we can see it and we think we have a pretty good idea with our devices of what we're picking, there's still so many factors that need to be explored. I'll give you an example. One of Matt's ideas was he's curious if humidity can affect devices. And think about that for a second. This is Blue Mountain Paranormal, by the way. And by the way, our friend's podcast earlier was good. It was engaging, etc. There was a lot of people in it, so that was nice. But it was when he brought that up, it made me think about this live stream because that's kind of what we're trying to do here is think outside the box here and dig deeper and be a deeper thinker than most people are when it comes to paranormal investigation and start asking these really fundamental, almost skeptical questions. almost. Because what it is Matt and myself are analyzers. All right, we look at things differently, and we go, well, what if this factor does affect the environment and also can affect the wiring? Think about it. If it's humid, and humid like Florida, it's probably a good example. I mean, you can't go anywhere without sweating your balls off. I mean, it's so fucking humid. All right. And so if us at 98 degrees starts sweating in Florida, what do you think that does to the inside of your devices where the coils are and the wires are up in there? All right. Especially if it's almost humid to the point where you literally feel like you could cut it with a knife. It's that bad down there sometimes in Florida. All right. And so when Matt brought that question up, that was a great question because almost no investigator has asked a question like that before. And if they have, they probably it fell out of their brain and they forgot about it. But those are the questions we're trying to ask here at Paranormal Witchcraft. That's a very good example, is to use Brother Matt Hornick's example. I mean, it's a great question. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand here with containment over the chaos. How do we know for 1,000,000,000% that we aren't even 0.001% affecting our devices with ourselves or in the environment? We don't yet. Our best guesses in anything on this planet as humans are still speculative. We're going to continue learning about the universe and continue learning about life and continue learning about everything. And I have no doubt that paranormal investigation, well, it kind of looks like it's going towards an AI mode, which is interesting. We'll see how that turns out. But remember, I have a feeling it's going to show up in a way where it's going to try to make things easier for everybody. And it might be something like on social media where nobody wants to do the work anymore. Nobody wants to show the work. They're just going to plug in their AI devices on their hunts. And then what? Then how are we going to be able to tell if it's the environment or us? We won't. Look at social media right now. It's so hard to tell what's actually real on there because so many people are taking screenshots of, say, like me on camera doing this, and then going to their AI platform and spitting out something totally different. I don't know, that could be happening all over the planet, right? That seems to be the draw towards AI, is makes life easier, but it's meant to expand your personal knowledge is what it's really meant to be. It's supposed to be a knowledge tool. And so we'll see what happens with that. But I suspect going forward, we're going to see a bunch of responsibility problems with investigation, especially if AI starts entering the realm as far as helping us with our investigations, uh, getting some data points that maybe we can't as humans detect. I can see the uses there, but the downside is like everything else. If you look at social media, I'm not sure human beings are ready for AI. I'm really not. And I know that's a strong statement to make, but look at the state of social media. That's why I say that, because I don't see it ever getting better. I only see it getting worse because there's just too many people that don't want to use it responsibly. It's almost like a toy, I think, kind of, you know. So we'll see. But anyways, guys, it is about 30 minutes in. I'm going to take some more comments. It was an awesome experiment. You liked that? Energy is energy. Yes. I believe Chuck, hand over heart on that one. I really believe that when we shed this meat suit, I kind of think I'm myself, Chuck. I think I'm going to be Tobias. I think I'll agree with, like Phil was talking on the podcast, his beliefs of what he thinks ghosts are, etc. Matt had his descriptions, and in the comments, there was a couple other people in the audience that had their opinions, and they were all similar, but they were all different at the same time. And so, what we think is we have a theory that all of this stuff is tied in somehow: the metaphysical, the supernatural, the paranormal, magic, consciousness, all that stuff. We have a tendency to believe that all this energy we're speaking of, all right, our consciousness is a form of energy. It's what gives us our intellect. It's what helps us form who we are as people as well. Okay. I truly believe without my conscience, I wouldn't be Tobias. I don't know what a conscience is. It's fascinating. I hope one day in our humanity's future, even if it's 1,000 years from now, that we actually get up here on camera and tell others what consciousness really is, where it came from, how it came to be. And I have a strong suspicion that it's going to be tied to the divine somehow. I really do. I wouldn't be surprised. Remember, we are a hive mind as humans, whether we want to be or not. Okay. That's why social media is so easily affected by a few, because that think tank mentality just kicks in. All right. And scientists are even still trying to understand what it is about our brains that does that with the human next to us. What is it about us that makes us go, well, that person's doing it, so I'm going to do it too? We don't know what it is about us that makes us do that, but it is no doubt part of the problem with the planet right now and humanity. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see if humanity survives that long on top of it. If we're looking around in the world's current environment, there's a lot of words you can't say. I found one out earlier in the podcast. There was a word that was brought up, and I didn't know we couldn't say it on here. I'm glad I haven't said it. But I was just like, wow, we can't say that here. It's been some years, et cetera, et cetera. And no, you can't say that here. All right. So the etiquette here is you have to watch how you word things. Okay. And if we step back as humans and think about where we are right now, I think what we're really trying to do is find new ways to communicate with us. And I think the problem we're having, especially on places like social media, is those business owners don't want to take the responsibility to straighten most of the ignorance out. It's just gotten too big, it's too chaotic. It is almost like an epidemic. All right. Too many people are drinking the Kool-Aid, and he just probably washes his hand and just says, I don't know what to do. All right. That's a very real human reaction. Okay. That means this man over there is overwhelmed, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going off on a tangent, so I'll pull myself back in as I walk us out the door. And so tomorrow we will run a new series of experiments right here on this channel, Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. I am Tobias Josephson, but we do have many other members. Okay. So we'll see you right here tomorrow at 11 a.m. with a new paranormal laboratory theory centered around containment over chaos, evidence over egos, structure for the next, I think I said 2 weeks, but I'm going to try to push it for a month. It's really a fun series. I'm really having a lot of fun with you guys. I know a couple people might be out of the room. I don't know yet. And that's not a big deal. People are busy and they got to go to bed. But this has really been a fun journey for me. So I wanted to take a minute before I close tonight and let everybody out there know that I, myself personally, am greatly humbled and grateful for any blessing, any thumbs up, any comments, any audience member. For our business here at Paranormal Witchcraft, we have 9 other members. Okay. We have Fonda, we have Holly, we have Sandy, we have Danielle, we have Kyle, we have Steven, we have Richard, we have Alex, we have Brian. All right. Did you guys catch that? So we have a number of other team members, and some of them hopefully are aspiring to build businesses within our 5-year time plan. Um, with that being said, again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And again, Mr. Chris, remember what I told you earlier today. It's not a fun path to walk sometimes, but sometimes eventually it is what it is. All right. And even if you ever wander away from me, brother, don't feel bad about that. Okay. Just remember, you're here to find your true happiness. And if it isn't around me in the future, just know that's okay. Remember, people come into your lives for a reason, a season, etc. Okay. And it's happened to me. I can't tell you how many times over my social media lifetime. All right. I used to be a really small profile where I kept under 250 friends. Whereas in the last year, because I bought a business, All right, now I'm professional. I used Meta a couple times, got myself in trouble, blah, blah. But now we have a foundation over there. Okay. So it was a strategic move to use Meta. What I see on social media is people are trying to cheat using AI. And what I see on social media is people are trying to buy their followers. All right. Because they desperately want to feed their egos or they desperately want to make a buck, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The only time you'll ever see me occasionally using Meta is if it's like $1 a month and it's just for shits and grins. I've never ever taken Meta professional seriously because I kind of picked up early on what it was geared for. It's looking for people who want to steer a narrative a certain way. And so that's just not for me. So, that being said, my friends, tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m., where we will have yet another paranormal laboratory theory and some hard questions again that might make most paranormal investigators uncomfortable. All right. And again, if you return tomorrow, we thank you. And if you return again tomorrow at 8 p.m., you will see another series of experiments in this laboratory. So, welcome to Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. I am Tobias Josephson, and this is where we approach the paranormal differently. Containment over chaos, evidence over egos, my friends. Have yourself a blessed night. Christopher Stan, be well, my friend. Chuck Averett, thank you so much for tuning in. And to our mystery third person, whoever you are, wherever you are, thank you. Blessings and blessed be. Have yourselves a beautiful and blessed evening. We'll see you in the morning. Tobias out.